Renegade Report. So it's been a few days since Henza tweeted about the tax revolt, and there's been a lot of outcry and panic and debate around a potential tax revolt, which I approve of, by the way. I think a tax revolt is needed because sooner or later we're going to run out of money. So we can do it now under control through a tax revolt, or we can just let the government steal everything and spend everything on vanity projects that don't actually help the country or the economy in any meaningful way. So I just thought I'll dissect one or two arguments that were used against the notion of a tax revolt. The first one is that somehow a tax revolt is undemocratic, that we do not really support democracy because the ANC is a democratic government, so to speak, and we vote them in every 5 years. And the corruption aside, if we take away taxes from them, they're unable to fulfill their democratic duty. Now, this is a very facile and weak argument because I would argue that a tax revolt is actually more democratic. It wants more democracy. It wants more accountability. It wants more oversight of government spending. Because remember, the government doesn't have any money. Any money it makes, it steals from people like you and me. That is a very, very, very important fact of the matter. The government doesn't create any money. It just takes it from others, productive citizens. So if we assume that a tax revolt does happen, a tax revolt is a message. It's not about protecting privilege or any of that bullshit. It's sending a message that the accountability, the link between the state and the citizens is too extended. That the link between taxes and spending doesn't exist. Very important to note that. A tax revolt is a way to get more democracy, is to show the government that the citizens who pay taxes and who fund the government are not happy with the government. That is a far more democratic way of accountability than any other thing possible, other than voting them out. And we won't vote them out because unfortunately most ANC voters don't pay taxes. And that is the truth. 60% of their voter base is poor rural people. So yeah, so tax revolt wants more democratic about accountability, not less. And indeed, I would think it's a patriotic duty of people to not pay taxes for a certain amount of time to show the state that they can't do what they want. Another argument is that, the poor will suffer because there won't be any social grants. Very easy way to adjust that. All the taxes that you're not paying through the tax revolt, you can just send them through other vehicles to pay the equivalent of a social grant to poor people. Now, obviously, we're not going to reach everyone because we don't have a monopoly on it, but you can give charitable donations, you can use that money to employ them, you can do many other things with them. And to assume that we can let a government get away with the rampant corruption and looting that they have been doing for the past decade or more, and we're going to let them get away with that because we don't want to hurt poor people. Why do you think those people are poor? It is due to the rampant corruption and looting. That is the reason why people are poor. The reason why people are poor is because resources aren't going to education. They are not going to healthcare. They are not going to housing. That's why they're poor. So the tax revolt brings more accountability for the poorest of South Africans as well. And lastly, the poor will suffer when we run out of money. And that, in my estimation, looks to be sort of inevitable at this stage. I don't see anyone going hard right economically. I don't see major reforms happening through the ANC. I don't see the ANC losing power within 5 years at the very least. I just don't see that happening. So we're going to run out of money sooner or later. And then what? The poor will suffer as well. Except this time, no one else in the country will have money either to help them out. So there's a few thoughts about the tax revolt. Subscribe, give me your mother's credit card number and the back CVV number as well. Subscribe, ring the bell, whatever you have to do to get these videos on a more frequent basis. Thank you for watching, and in the comments below, tell me what you think about the tax revolt and why we do or don't need it. Cheers.